All right, let's dive headfirst into this whole AI and copyright thing. Buckle up, because the U.S. Copyright Office just threw us a curveball. Get this. You can actually copyright AI stuff now, but hold on, there's a twist. It's not as easy as just hitting generate and calling it a day.
It's wild, right? The thing is, human creativity, that's still the heart of copyright. Even with AI running around, it's not about the machine's work, but the human touch.
Okay, so it's not a free-for-all on AI art. Remember Chris Casanova, the Zarya of the Dawn graphic novel, ran into some copyright snags even though she used AI for the images. This update from the Copyright Office, it really lays down the law, doesn't it?
It does. They've given us three situations where AI stuff can be copyrighted. And the first one, it might surprise you. It's all about human-made work that gets mixed with AI output. Imagine AI as your super-powered editing tool.
So, like, AI is the brush, but I'm still the artist. But wouldn't that mean companies using AI to tweak human-made stuff could have problems? Like Coca-Cola using AI to make their holiday commercial even cooler. Isn't that a gray area?
It's a great question, and it hits the nail on the head with this whole update. The key is significant human input. In Coca-Cola's case, they're calling the shots, the AI is just helping them out. Think Photoshop for pictures. Adobe doesn't own the copyright just because they made the tool.
Makes sense. What about those other situations where AI stuff can be copyrighted?
Well, the second one, it's about how much a human changes or arranges AI material. Imagine taking a bunch of AI-generated video clips, right? You edit them together into a music video. Your choices, your arrangement, that's what's protected.
So even if the raw stuff came from AI, it's the human's vision, like a director, that makes it copyrightable. That's
Yeah.
really interesting. I'm sensing a pattern here.
Absolutely. And that pattern takes us straight to the third one. It's all about sufficiently expressive and creative human contribution. Now, this is where it can get a little tricky.
Okay, I'm ready. Hit me with it. What does sufficiently expressive and creative even mean with AI?
Think of it this way. Just giving prompts to an AI image generator, Midjourney, DLE3, whatever. That's not enough. You're just giving instructions, not really being creative yourself.
So, I tell my AI, make me a surreal landscape with melting clocks. I can't just copyright that.
Nope, you're more like a director giving the AI a script. But if you take that AI image and use it in your own project, right, like you're writing and drawing a comic book and you throw that image in, now you've added your own creative spin on top of what the AI did.
Okay, I see how this all connects now. But what about companies training their AI on copyrighted stuff? It seems like there could be a conflict there, right?
You're right, that's a whole other can of worms. That's going to be tackled in part 3 of the Copyright Office's report, actually. They're going to dive deep into what it means legally to use copyrighted stuff to train AI. And trust me, it's going to be huge for companies like Google and OpenAI.
So for now, no big legal changes,
Yeah.
right? The Copyright Office seems to think the current laws can handle this, but it sounds like things could get wild down the line.
They definitely could, especially as AI keeps evolving. The
Hmm.
Copyright Office, they've made it clear human creativity comes first, even as the tools we use to be creative get more and more advanced. This report, it's just the tip of the iceberg. This conversation about how copyright adapts to AI, it's just getting started.
So even though the rules seem clear now, they might change as AI gets even smarter. That's pretty thought-provoking.
It is, and it leads to some interesting questions, right? Like how much human input is really needed for something to be copyrightable? And how do we even define creativity when machines are making art? These are questions we're all going to have to wrestle with moving forward.
I bet we will, and I'm sure our listener has some thoughts too. But let's unpack that second scenario a bit more, where a human takes AI-generated stuff and makes it into something new.
Right, it's all about transformation. Think about those AI tools that make music. Someone could take a melody, a chord progression that an AI came up with, and build a whole song around it, add their own lyrics, instruments, and arrangement. The final song, it's a blend of human and machine, but the human's creative choices, that's what drives the work.
So if I feed an AI a bunch of my favorite songs, it spits out a new melody. That melody itself isn't copyrightable. But I can take that melody and make something original from it.
Exactly. It's like being inspired by another artist. You're not copying, you're building on an idea and making it your own.
That's a really helpful way to think about it.
Yeah.
It's not about who started the fire, but who shaped it into something unique and expressive.
Precisely. And that's what makes the second scenario so cool. It shows how humans and AI can work together. AI can give you inspiration, raw materials, but the human artist, they're the ones who bring their own vision and creativity to the table.
So it's not about replacing us, but giving us new tools and possibilities. I bet this is huge for things like filmmaking and game development, where AI is already generating stuff and speeding things up.
Absolutely. This update, it could change everything for those industries. Imagine a filmmaker using AI for crazy visual effects, or a game developer creating massive, detailed worlds with AI. They're still the creative directors, guiding the process and shaping the final product.
This is where it gets really interesting for our listener. Think about the tools you use every day. Can you see yourself using AI in your creative process? Would it free you up to focus on the big picture, the story you want to tell, the emotion you want to evoke?
That's the question, isn't it? It brings us right back to the core of this deep dive, this Copyright Office update. It's more than just legal stuff. It's a reflection of how our relationship with creativity is changing in the age of AI. It's a challenge to rethink what it means to be a creator, to work with machines, and to use technology to amplify that unique human spark.
Well said. And don't forget, we're just getting started. This is just part one, and we've already covered a lot.
We have, and speaking of getting started, remember those lawsuits against Google and OpenAI? The ones about them training their AI models on copyrighted stuff.
Yeah, those have been all over the news. Kind of surprised the Copyright Office didn't tackle that right away.
Well, it's not that they're ignoring it. They're actually going to deal with it head on in the third part of their report. But they wanted to set these clear rules for creators first.
So start with the individual, then zoom out to the bigger picture. Makes sense, but I'm definitely curious to hear what they have to say about the whole training data thing.
I hear ya. It's a tough issue. It really gets at how we value and protect creativity when AI can learn from so much data and so much of it's copyrighted.
And it's not just big tech companies, right? There are independent developers and researchers using copyrighted data too. What happens to them if the rules change?
That's the big question, isn't it? And to be honest, the answer's still a bit unclear. The Copyright Office is dealing with a lot of tricky legal and ethical stuff. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle this as uncharted territory.
Makes me think about those AI music tools again. Imagine you're a musician using one to get inspired. But what if it learned from your favorite band's music without their permission? Does that feel right? What do you think, listener?
That's a great point. It really shows how this can lead to both good things and bad. These AI tools, they can open doors for artists, give them access to sounds and styles they wouldn't have found otherwise, but we got to make sure the original artists get credit and are paid fairly.
Okay, so it's not just about whether AI can be creative. It's about respecting and rewarding human creativity, even as AI gets smarter.
Exactly. And that brings us back to what the Copyright Office said about human authorship. They're clear. Copyright is for humans, not machines. Even if AI makes music, the human who gave the input, made the choices, arranged the final product, they own the copyright.
Kind of like how a photographer owns the copyright to a photo, even though their camera actually took the picture.
Perfect analogy. The camera's just a tool, just like AI. It's the human behind it making the creative decisions.
And with the training data, it's about making sure the humans who made the original work are recognized and paid. I'm really curious to see what solutions the Copyright Office comes up with in their next report. This could be a game changer for how AI is developed.
No doubt about it. This is a defining moment for AI and copyright law. The choices made now will have a huge impact down the road.
Speaking of choices, the Copyright Office decided not to recommend any new laws right now, right? They think the current laws can handle these AI-generated works.
That's right. They know things are changing fast. But for now, they believe the basic ideas of copyright law, focusing on human authorship, are enough.
But they're not ruling out changes in the future, are they?
Not at all. They said they're open to revisiting this as AI gets even more advanced. They're also encouraging people to talk and work together. Creators, AI developers, legal experts, everyone.
So it's not like mission accomplished, it's more like the start of a long journey.
Exactly. And it's a journey we're all on together. As AI becomes a bigger part of our lives, it's going to raise some really big questions about creativity, authorship, and what art even means. And we need to tackle those questions together, carefully and with open minds.
You know, this whole conversation reminds me of when photography first came out. People argued about whether it was even art because it used a machine.
Interesting parallel. And just like photography eventually became accepted as a real art form, I think the same will happen with AI art. It just takes time and understanding.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? What will the art world be like in 50 years? Will there be museums for AI art? Famous AI artists? Exciting to think about the possibilities.
It is. And it reminds us that we're living in a time of huge change for technology and for art. It's up to us to embrace these changes, to think about them carefully, and to make sure human creativity keeps growing alongside these powerful new tools.
Well said. You know, this Copyright Office update has gotten a lot of attention online. I've been seeing a lot of reactions from creators, both good and bad.
Yeah, it's a hot topic for sure. And it's sparked some important discussions about what creative work will look like in the future.
Some people are worried this update will stifle innovation in AI art. They think focusing too much on human authorship could limit what AI can do, limit its ability to create really new and unexpected art.
That's a valid point. And it's something the Copyright Office will need to think about carefully. It's a balancing act, protecting human creators while also allowing AI to push the limits of artistic expression.
But on the other hand, a lot of creators are happy about this update. They see it as recognition for their work and proof that human creativity is still essential, even with AI.
Exactly. For many artists using AI as a tool, this update gives them a sense of security. It confirms that their work is protected, even if they're using AI to help them create.
I'm thinking of people like Nem Perez, the AI filmmaker who co-created that amazing AI-generated Terminator 2 remake. He's been very vocal about supporting this update. And then there's Robert William Bradshaw, a 3D animator, who sees this as a step toward a more inclusive and collaborative creative world. It seems like there's a lot of excitement about what humans and AI can create together.
Absolutely. And I think that's where the real potential lies. When we work together, we can create things that neither could do alone. It's about using the strengths of both to push the limits of what's possible.
I love that idea. It's not humans versus machines. It's humans and machines working together to create something truly amazing.
Precisely. And I think that's resonating with a lot of creators. This Copyright Office update, it's a reminder that AI is a tool, a powerful one. But in the end, it's up to us humans to use it responsibly, ethically, and creatively.
So even though AI can generate art, it's still humans who guide the creative vision, make the choices, and give the work meaning and emotion.
Exactly. AI can help, it can enhance, it can even inspire, but it's the human touch that brings true artistry to life.
I'm feeling like we've explored pretty much every angle of this Copyright Office update. Is there anything else we should talk about before we wrap up this deep dive?
Well, there's one thing Shira Perlmutter, the Register of Copyrights, said that I think is important. She said that human creativity is central to copyright, and that protecting purely machine-generated work would actually hurt the goals of copyright.
Oh, that's a good one. It really goes back to why copyright exists in the first place, right?
Yeah.
To support and reward human creativity.
Exactly. And that's why this update is so important. It's not just about clearing up the rules for AI-generated stuff. It's about reaffirming how much we value human creativity in our society.
Okay, I think we've covered a lot here. We talked about the 3 situations where AI content can be copyrighted. We looked at the tricky issue of training data, and we even thought about what it means to be creative in the age of AI. But before we move on to part 3, is there anything else our listeners should keep in mind?
One thing. As we figure out this new world, it's important to remember that AI is constantly changing. What's impossible today could be normal tomorrow. So as AI keeps getting better, we need to be flexible, open-minded, and willing to rethink our ideas about creativity, authorship, and what art really is.
That's a great point. We're still in the early days of this AI revolution, and there are definitely going to be surprises and challenges ahead. But one thing's for sure, it's a really exciting time to be a creator, and AI is opening up so many new possibilities.
It is exciting, that's for sure. As we wrap this up, this deep dive into AI and copyright, it's wild to think how far we've come in such a short time. We went from asking if AI can even be creative to figuring out the legal stuff when AI art is sold and shared. It even challenges what we think it means to be an author.
It's crazy when you say it like that. We've covered so much. But honestly, I still have more questions than answers. Like, what does this all mean for the future of human creativity?
The big question, right? And I don't think anyone really knows the answer, but this update from the Copyright Office, I think it gives us some hints. They're saying human authorship is important, even with AI. That's a message. Human creativity is still at the core of what we value and protect.
So even though AI can make art, it's human artists who give it meaning, context, value.
Exactly. Think of it this way. AI can make a technically perfect painting, but a human artist decides what to paint, what emotions to show, what story to tell. It's that human touch that turns pixels or notes into something that really matters.
Okay, I get it. But as AI gets even smarter, won't the line between human and machine creativity get blurrier? What happens when AI starts making art that's not just technically good, but also emotionally powerful and groundbreaking?
Now that's when it gets really interesting and maybe a little philosophical too. Artists, philosophers, legal experts, they'll be arguing about that for years. But remember, art is more than just skills or what you create. It's about human expression, connection, searching for meaning.
So even if AI makes art that's as good as or even better than humans, it's that human element, the intention, the emotion, the story, that really makes art important.
Exactly. And that's why I think human creativity will always have a place, even in a world where AI is a big part of the creative process.
This makes me think about how we'll teach art in the future. What will it be like when AI can create masterpieces whenever we want? Will we have to change what it means to be an artist?
Great questions. And they show how art education might change. We might focus less on technical skills and more on critical thinking, coming up with ideas, and working with AI tools.
So less about painting like Michelangelo
Hmm.
and more about using AI to express your own unique vision.
Exactly. It's about using AI to make human creativity stronger, not to replace it.
I'll be honest, I'm excited and a little scared by that. It feels like we're at the edge of something huge and unknown. We know there's something incredible out there, but we don't know what it looks like or how to get to it.
I get it, that feeling of uncertainty. It's normal, even healthy. We're living through massive changes in technology and culture, so it makes sense to feel excited and a little scared. But I know one thing for sure, human creativity is powerful. We've always found ways to adapt, invent new things, and express ourselves. And I think this new AI era will be the same.
I like that way of thinking. It reminds me that even with all these unknowns, we have this amazing chance to shape the future of art and creativity.
Exactly. And it's a chance we should take with curiosity and responsibility. We need to ask the tough questions, try new tools, and talk openly and honestly about how AI affects the arts.
Well said. So for our listener who's been with us on this deep dive, what's the most important thing to remember as we figure out this new world of AI and creativity?
Don't be scared of what you don't know. AI is powerful, but it's just a tool. The magic comes when human creativity meets technology. So be curious, experiment, and don't be afraid to push the limits.
Beautifully put. And remember, this update is just the beginning. The conversation about AI and copyright isn't over, and we all need to be a part of it. So stay informed, stay engaged, and most importantly, stay creative. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.